supporter of Prop 64 because there's a lot of things about it that I don't like. The one thing that I do like is that the cops no longer have the ability to just pick on somebody because of the color of their skin and pull them over and take all their stuff because it's legal now. You know, so I think that there's a lot more equity just in general. I think that the regulated market is more, classist. It's more, you've got to be rich, you know, and that leaves a lot of folks out just because you've got to have so much money for the lawyers and for the fees and you've got to put I know some people that have had real estate on hold for 7 years. They've been paying rent on real estate, just speculating that they're going to be able to get, a retail establishment in there. And, you know, I don't know how anyone's making any money right now. You've got to have deep pockets. And, but yes, you know, obviously there still is horrible racism in this world, and it seems like it's even getting worse right now. But as far as the laws and the regulations, no, it's not that. It's just that they did miss the intent of Prop 64, which they used to sell a lot of folks, and that is that in California, we're going to do things differently. We're going to nurture mom and pop businesses, which would have been people of color, it would have been women, it would have been small business. But when the regulators came in and got their hands on the legislation, they just kind of made, I think, some missteps. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. They could have been lobbied, and it could be completely corrupt. I don't know. I wasn't in those rooms and in those conversations. But somehow, all of a sudden, people were able to stack their licenses. And there's like 10 companies that own 90% of the California licenses. And there was supposed to be a 1 acre cap on how much cultivation you could do to nurture the legacy farmers, the mom and pop businesses. And then people were just stacking them. I've got 10 licenses on this property, so now I have 10 acres, not one. You know, so it's just unfortunate how it's working out.
Do you know what dispensaries do with the data that they collect on consumers?
The data is right now it's the track and trace isn't fully in effect. That data is just supposed to be shared between the retail and the what are those guys called? The distributors and the labs, going back and forth to the different agencies that regulate them. And they're very aware that they don't want the federal government to get their hands on that data. You know, they want to protect the customer. That the regulators really do want the regulated industry to succeed because, I mean, let's face it, they created a whole new bureaucracy in California. Never existed. Probably never going to go away. Once you create something like that, it's there. But it has to succeed. You know, they have to have a regulated market that works. And if people feel like, oh, gosh, my data is going to get in hands of people that I don't want it to get into, I'm just going to go to the same old guy that is delivering illegally knocked off brands. And, you know, it looks the same, tastes the same, hint, hint, it is the same. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and get it from this guy that doesn't have his license because then I don't have to pay the taxes. That's not going to be a success. And the state's going to have to figure that one out.
Interesting. So, Susan, that said, and with everything that, you know, you've kind of conveyed about your feelings about it, what do you see for Coachella 2019?
Well, 2019 is going to be a really fun year. I'm not going to be able to give away as much cannabis as I want to or as I have in the past because it's going to be really complicated because of track and trace. They're not allowing sampling unless you're a medical patient. It's really complicated. So, it has to go from the cultivator to the manufacturer to a distribution company who takes it to a lab and gets it tested and then takes it to its final retail destination. So if a brand wanted to have their products in my swag bag, they would have to sell their products to the distributor. It gets to a retail establishment, and then the taxes have to be paid, and then they'd have to buy it back and put it in my bag. So it's a complicated, expensive process. So we're going to have more experiences where, the brands are there and they are able to try the brands, but it's not going to go home with them in a big way, although they will be very nice swag bags. But more experiences, like I'm going to have, I shouldn't say this because it's kind of cool and I don't want people to beat me to it. But I'm going to have a pot tub. I'm infusing my hot tub, and we're going to sit in the hot tub, and we're going to get high.
Now, this has been, you get your publishing check on that.
Okay.
I'm quite sure your publishing will be fine on your pot tub because I haven't heard that, Susan. I like that. It's very marketable.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and I've got spirulina in the kitchen with their dragon glass, which is it's a THC isolate that is activated. So, do you know what that means?
No.
My daughter keeps telling me when I go on these shows not to be so sciencey. She's like, "Mom,
science.
you are too sciencey." She's a lawyer, so she's smart, and a lot hipper than me. So it's only THC.
Okay.
So when you smoke a flower, or typically, I won't even say do a concentrate, but when you smoke a flower, you're getting CBD, you're getting THCV, you're getting THC, you're getting all of these amazing compounds, and they all work together to do amazing things and different terpenes. This is only THC. So you don't have the CBD complementing it to like tone down the some people get paranoid. They might get paranoid on this, but just to kind of tone it down a little bit. So it's an amazing experience, and it's already activated. So you don't have to. The reason why edibles, they cook them, is to activate the compounds so that you'll actually get high. Everybody's so worried about having childproof packaging, because they don't want a baby to accidentally find a jar of buds and get high. The baby could eat the whole jar and never get high. It has to get to a certain temperature before it activates it. So this crystal, it's called dragon glass, it's already activated. So you can just take a little scoop of it and put it under your tongue, or you can take a little scoop of it and put it in your martini, or you can take a little scoop of it and put it in your whatever you're stir frying, and you're good to go. So he's going to be, he's got a chef in the kitchen, and they're going to be making whatever you want. And if you want it infused, you got it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think, Susan? Is the black market better than the legal market in cannabis? I mean, I know you spoke on it a little bit and kind of alluded to what could happen.
Well, can I stop you there? Can we not call it the black market, because that is the man trying to run their propaganda. It isn't the black market. It's the unregulated market. It's the illicit market. It's the gray market, whatever you want to call it. Just not the black market.
Understood. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So is it better? I mean, I don't want to answer that question.
Okay, say no more. I completely understand. Well, let me ask you this: when do you see cannabis being legal nationwide?
Oh my gosh! Do you know who's in the White House right now?
I would take that to mean that's a no.
No, it's not that it's a no. It's like, who the hell knows?
Okay.
anything could happen with that guy. Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows?
Understood.
Who knows what's happening in California? We still don't have the permanent regulations yet.
So it's still this whole marketplace continues to unfold on a daily basis.
It's right now. It's on hold. Everybody's holding their breath. The final regulations were supposed to drop on January 1st or January 3rd. They didn't. The rumor is that the incoming administration wants to put their footprint on the regulations before they're finalized. But the problem with that is that January 1st, people are supposed to start following different rules. And if the rules aren't finalized, then how are they supposed to follow them?
Understood.
So the regulations are probably going to drop on January 3rd, and that means that people have to start following those rules, which they don't know what they are, immediately. So they might have half their products that they have to pull off the shelf where they're breaking the rules. Like just the child-proof packaging thing has been back and forth. They were making it so every single product had to be in a child-proof packaging container. And so everybody placed all these orders for 1 million pieces for their packaging in China, and there was actually a shortage. There was only like 4 companies that could do it, and they were having these long wait times, and so people were ordering tons of stuff at a time. And then the regulators like, oh, just kidding, no, you don't have to do that. We're going to just make an exit package that's childproof. And everyone's like, what the hell? We just spent money on people that are, amazing at making great packages, and they're eco-friendly, and they've got all the right labeling, and now you're changing it on us, and then they're going to change it back in 2020. It's a hot mess.
You know what, Susan, switching gears for a minute, what's your favorite brand strand and why?
My favorite strain is Super Lemon Haze. Well, it's hard to say. I was talking to someone earlier today that we could do probably a 12-hour discussion just on strains. The strains have been bred. There's tens of thousands of different strains now, because everybody wants to have their own proprietary strain. So they take this and that and breed them together. And there's no scientific way of proving that if I give you a bud, I can't prove what strain it is. There's no scientific way for that to be proven. So people just lie. And, you go into a dispensary and you think you're buying a train wreck, and who knows if you are or not. It's just the integrity of the grower. And, if the grower kept track all of these years that is actually really train wreck, and a lot of times people get rated. That's what happened to me. My favorite strain, like 10 years ago, I found this guy on Craigslist, and I met him in the parking lot at Duke's in Malibu at midnight and bought a tray of clones off of him. And I had no idea what they were. I knew what he labeled them. Some of them, there was some Northern Lights that turned out to be males. And I'm like, okay, cool, you're cloning males. Yay. What is this? One of them was Super Lemon Haze, according to him. I don't have proof that it was actually that. But I grew it for a couple of years and got it to the point where it was just the most amazing medicine. It was so beautiful to grow. By the time it was mature, all the leaves have been trimmed off because it didn't need that many leaves, and it was all bud. It was so amazing, but law enforcement decided to come in and take it away from me, so I don't have it anymore.
You live a very interesting life, Susan. I understand. What are some of the artists that have attended your gifting suite, and who are your top 3 most memorable moments with musicians that have attended the gifting suites?
Probably Brittany Howard is the top. I mean, just we were having a hard time getting her recommendation, and she kept rubbing my shoulder, and she was so excited. The 1975 came, and they were there for about